This video will take you through the steps to prepare a Form 1040 if you received Form SSA 1099. To determine if any of your Social Security income is taxable, you take all of your other income plus half of your Social Security income, and if it's not over $25,000, then none of your Social Security income will be taxable. To go through an example, if you had $10,000 of other income and also $10,000 of Social Security income, you would take half your Social Security income, which would be $5,000, plus all your other income of $10,000, which equals $15,000. Since that is less than $25,000, none of your Social Security income will be taxable. If you're married filing jointly, you go through the same procedure as you would as if you were single. You add all of your other income plus half of your Social Security income. If it's not more than $32,000, then none of it will be taxable. To go through another example, if you had $20,000 of other income and $10,000 of Social Security income, you would take half of your Social Security income, which would equal $5,000, plus your other income of $20,000, which would equal $25,000. That is less than $32,000, so none of your Social Security income would be taxable. If you're married filing separately and you lived apart for the entire year, the rule would be same as if you were single. You must enter the letter D on line 5A. To determine how much income you need to include in your return, fill out the spreadsheet, which can be found on page 33 of the IRS instructions. There are a few exceptions where you cannot use the spreadsheet. You can go in the instructions to find them, but I'll briefly go through them. If you repaid any of your benefits, you cannot use this. If you have any foreign earned income, if you're a resident of the American Samoa, or if you had any exclusions of earnings from bonds, you cannot use this. Also refer to the instructions if you invested in an IRA. That might prevent you from using this as well. So you begin with looking at box 5 of your Form SSA 1099. Put that amount on line 1. In our example, it's $12,000. Multiply this by 50%, which leaves you with $6,000 on line 2. On line 3, add all your other sources of income and put that on line 3. In our example, that would be $20,000. If you had any tax-exempt interest, you would put that on line 4, and you'd find this on line 2A from your 1040. Combine lines 2, 3, and 4. In our example, you're going to come up with $26,000. Put this on line 5. If you have any adjustments, you'll find those on Schedule 1. On line 6, in our example, that is 0. On line 7, combine lines 5 and 6 to come down to $26,000 in our example. On line 8, you will put $25,000 because in our example you are single, which will leave you with $1,000 on line 9. On line 10, since we are single, it informs us to enter $9,000. On line 11, we enter 0 as 9,000 is more than 1,000. On line 12, we're going to enter the smaller of line 9 or 10, which is $1,000. We are going to take half of that on line 13 and we get to 500. We enter that on line 14 as it is smaller. Again on line 16 as line 15 is 0. And line 17 is 85% of line 1. That is more than $500. So on line 18, since we're entering the smaller of line 16 or 17, is $500. To recap, our $500 comes from our total income plus half of the Social Security income. So our income is $20,000 plus half of the Social Security income, which is $6,000, which equals $26,000. We subtract $25,000, which leaves us with $1,000, and half of that is $500, and that gets entered on our tax return. To prepare the return, start by checking the single box at the top of the form. Fill in your name and address and your Social Security number. Check the box that you're born before January 2nd of 1954 if this is the case. Sign and date and put your occupation at the bottom of the form. On page 2 of our Form 1040, on line 2B, we will put all of our other income because in our example, our other income is taxable interest. On line 5A, we put all of our Social Security benefits that we received of $12,000. On line 5B, we put the $500 from our spreadsheet. Line 6 is the total of the $20,500 from lines 2B and 5B. Line 7 is also $20,500 as we have no other adjustments to income. Line 8 is our standard deduction, and since we were born before January 2nd of 1954, it's more than the $12,000 allowed if we were not. So that is $13,600. On line 10 is our taxable income as we have no qualified business income deduction, so line 10 is $13,600. We will find our tax from the schedules in the instructions, and our example is $1,445. We take this down to line 13 and line 15 as well. In our example, we had federal income tax withholding on our Form 1099 of $1,500. We will carry this down to line 18. On line 19, we subtract the $1,500 from $1,445 to come up with a refund of $55. We put this on line 20A as we do want it refunded to us. If we want it directly deposited into our bank account, you can complete the routing number, the account number, and the type on lines B, D, and C. To finish the return, Schedule B would need to be completed for the interest earned. Place your name and Social Security number at the top of the form. Complete line 1. In our example, the interest was earned from Bank ABC. The amount was $20,000. Carry that down to lines 2 and 4. And at the bottom of the form, on Part 3, the questions would also need to be completed.